in your mouth, better add the respect. Otherwise, pressure gon' be at your neck, run up on you like. This ain't a game, my aim is to throw. I'm much higher than you, like a rocket, a drone. I'm powerful, think of a stone, throw it off in my brain and I'm back to the bone.
Welcome back to the KDL, everybody. We just wrapped up the wildcard match where MIRAENSEJONG was victorious over Team Desperado. They're going to be moving on to the top 4. And now it is time for the winners match for solos in the round of 16. 4 of these players are going to be heading directly into the finals. And boy, do we have a stacked lineup. We'll get into that in a moment here as we take a look at the overview for the solo match.
Yeah, so we just wrapped up our round of 32 group solo matches, and on the 15th of November, we did play the round of 16 match 1 and 2. So now we have a round of 16 winners match as well as a losers match. Today, we're playing the winners match where the top 4 will move to the grand finals of the solos, and the bottom 4 will need to play in the round of 16 finals match on November 25th.
Yeah, so in that finals match, they will be joining the 4 victors from the losers match to decide who is going to join the winners today at the grand finals of the solos. As we take a quick glance here at the track best record, of course, keep in mind there is a prize at the end of the season for whoever is able to hold on to the most of these right now. And what's really catching my eye is NEAL with 3 tracks, Cool with 3 tracks. These guys are playing out of their mind recently, Peter.
NEAL and Cool, these 2 players are historically some of our strongest solo match players, and they are absolutely showing that even this season around. And as we take a look at the round of 16 status for solos, we can take a look at the winners match and the losers match groups.
Yeah, so the winners match, this is the group that we're going to be playing through today. 2 players from each of the pro teams. It's going to be a very competitive one. Cool, of course, just closed out his group on Wednesday with a clean 3-0 to start things out. So we'll see if he can repeat magic again today. And of course, the round of 16 losers match, not played today, will be later on. And those 4 players will eventually try to join our winners in the grand finals.
This was the closest solos we've had, I feel like, this whole entire year.
Yeah.
With Cool taking that 3 win in a row, as you mentioned, State, it felt like a lot of our players in the match number 1 couldn't really show off their prowess much because it was all decided based on the first 2 tracks. Whereas in the match number 2, it was just a closely tight-knitted group overall.
Yeah, and I really feel like this round of 16 winners match is a preview of the grand finals. I wouldn't be surprised if 6, 7, or even 8 of these guys, all 8 of them, made it to the grand finals with how well that they have been racing thus far. It's certainly possible. 4 of them will advance today. 4 of them will have to fight later on in the final match to see if they can make it to that grand finals. And this guy you see on screen right now, absolutely incredible. Not only did he just win 3 tracks in a row to emerge victorious for the round of 16 match 1, he's first in average points, first in placement points, first in podium finishes. He's tied for the most map records. Cool, this might be his season.
Cool is definitely looking like our favorite here in the solos, and the fan predictions also reflected that. But up next, HyunSu, another strong contender here in the round of 16 winners, and he's repeating that meme the fans love him for, the square meme.
Yeah, the square meme is average points, not quite as high as some of the other fellows we have here, but he is in the black stripes. He's the number 2 seed coming into this one. And of course, if you're wondering about the seeds, starting out, the gold seed, in this case, Cool. He will be able to choose the first track that we play on. For everyone else, it's more about the colors here, as NEAL. It's going to be the 3rd seed coming in. And he does tie with Cool in the best records, but as of yet, he hasn't really been having the best run of it. I think actually in preseason 1 and preseason 2, correct me if I'm wrong, Peter, but I'm pretty sure he never seeded directly into the finals from the winners match. I think he always lost in the winners, always had to fight through the final match to make it in. And so a lot of fans, myself included right now, are wondering, can NEAL kind of break that almost curse and just kind of book his ticket to the grand finals right here, right now?
Well, we'll have to see. But BBoong is another player. He's a player representing Seongnam Rocks. We have 2 players from each professional teams, and our players themselves are just kind of laughing about it, how things turned out.
It's almost like an all-star match where if like you had to choose 2 players from each of the pro teams, these are the guys you're probably going to select. BBoong, maybe the most underdog, most surprising result here, but Luning, he was talking about on Wednesday in his little quip that he's like, you know what? I kind of feel like I forgot how to race in ones, but hey, he's looking a lot better right now, and he says that he also wants to place first 3 times and send everybody home happy, especially his fans happy very early with a victory. But in a group as stacked as this one, the round of 16 winners match, I'm not really anticipating anyone winning 3 tracks in a row. I think this is likely going to go the distance.
It's going to be a tough one. SUNGBIN, another one of our players, he wants to be that yellow or white racer, but as you mentioned, State, being such a tightly packed group, it is hard to be that player. For someone like SUNGBIN, who has such a good track record, a history in kart rider overall, to be in as the green racer can feel a little bit disappointing, but it's not surprising when you take a look at his opponents.
He was almost upset, though, in the previous group. I mean, he was 1 point ahead of Will to qualify into 4th place, and Hero says, bulldozer mode on. I like that one. That's my favorite quip out of all of these.
Yeah.
I guess Hero is planning on battling a little bit. Of course, if you missed the new patch, one of the changes is that in speed modes like this one, you collide with another racer, no longer does that deplete your nitrous gauge. So perhaps we're going to see from Hero a little bit of body fighting here as he plays through.
And Nock, we just saw him play earlier today in the wildcard team match, and he has shown such a great form today that I trust him. He's feeling bold, 90%. It's not 100%, but it's high enough, and we can't knock this guy off the list of our potential winners tonight.
No, absolutely not. I feel like everybody here has a chance to make it, as we have global fans in the audience supporting a lot of the folks we have here on stage. Almost a full house tonight, if not a full house, if I'm not mistaken. Every time we walk out on break, I mean, it just looks absolutely packed out there. So a lot of folks in the crowd as it looks like we are getting ready to kick off the round of 16 winners match. Only 4 of these players will advance into the grand finals directly. The other 4 will fall into the final match where they have to fight for a spot to qualify for that grand final. So along the line, Peter, in the first map choice, it's coming in. Let's get ready to kick off these solos on Glacier Snowbound Slopes.
Our first track of round of 16 solos winners match kicks off here in the Snowbound Slopes. Cool chose this track for us, and he is having a pretty decent start so far.
Yeah, a little bit of a different build coming in from Cool. Went on the outside, tried to avoid a little bit of traffic and prioritize nitrous a little bit more. On the other side of things, we saw NEAL just kind of beeline straight down the track, and if he can hold on to that lead coming through these almost hairpin turns coming in, that can really start to build some momentum for him.
Yeah, Cool has a lot of obstacles in his way off building that booster gauge like you mentioned, and SUNGBIN, he's going to be able to recover from that collision nicely, and it seems like NEAL, he's still leading.
Yeah, NEAL actually creating a lot of space between him and the second place racers there on that downslope, although it is getting closer and closer as 2, 3, 4 continue to drop off each other. But with collisions like that one from SUNGBIN, I mean, they're not losing too much momentum, but they are losing enough that NEAL is almost in time trial mode.
Certainly seems to be the case right now as SUNGBIN and Luning, they're going to be contesting each other pretty soon. And that means even more good news for NEAL right now. So much congestion in 2, 3, 4. And NEAL, he's trying to run away with this first place.
I mean, I feel like every single time we finish a lap number 1, excuse me, and we get back into the ski lift, it feels like it's everybody in there almost at the same time, but NEAL with like maybe a 1.5 second lead coming in, which is absolutely insane here as we start lap number 2. I don't know, I keep calling it tracks. 0.625 seconds in favor of NEAL, and you can really see that lead starting to build up.
There's no draft frames whatsoever from Cool on NEAL. So NEAL's just playing on his own right now, trying not to make any mistakes. There's no pressure there at all. Cool, he recovered nicely from a bit of a risky line there. So now he's holding on to the second place and finds a great block on Knock.
Yeah, but the same thing keeps happening with Knock, Cool, and HyunSu all battling for 2, 3, 4 spots. They're colliding, and these collisions, they're not very big, they're not that substantial, but every time they collide, they are losing a little bit of momentum, and that's allowing NEAL to really solidify his position.
Yeah, Cool's taking the tight lines right now, just focusing on NEAL, but Knock comes out to put more pressure, and NEAL's just gonna run away off with this one, it seems. Cool, he just needs to hold on to his second place.
Yeah, Cool doing his best. He's going to go for this outer line right now on the ledge.
Yeah.
500 meters left to go. NEAL pretty much a lock for first place, so we'll see who's going to get second and third. Right now it's Knock and Cool battling neck and neck. Oh, so close, but Knock with a slightly better line, able to take second place, but my goodness, did NEAL run away with that one? That was crazy. I think from the beginning of track number 1, let's keep in mind that he pretty much beelined straight down. He didn't prioritize nitrous too much. And oftentimes the players that prioritize nitrous at the beginning of a race will be the ones that, you know, a third of the way through the first lap are going to work their way into the lead. But
for sure,
there was so many collisions, and they're not big ones, but small collisions between Knock, Cool, SUNGBIN, Hero, HyunSu, these guys that were trying to fight for the top spots, that they could just never catch up. And NEAL was in first place, I think, almost the entire time. And he sets a new record as a result of that. So not only a first place finish, but you know, we're getting closer and closer to the end here in solo speed, and you gotta think these guys, they have their eyes on that record breaker prize. I think it's like, what, 500,000 Korean won?
Yeah, HyunSu took a pretty big collision near the end of that track there, and he fell all the way to 7th place off of being top 4 previously. So a lot of collisions happening off of the space that NEAL has, and it created a lot of the players to just be congested. So now NEAL is bringing us to his track choice here in the round 2 of solos, and it's going to be Mine Winding Slopes.
NEAL positively dominating that first track will now make his choice on Winding Slopes, this time prioritizing a little bit more nitrous, but there's a lot of traffic here on this one lapper to start things off. So NEAL sitting all the way in 5th place. Although I love that inner line. Oh my goodness, back-to-back, incredibly tight inner lines from NEAL. For a moment had him all the way back into 3rd place as he is fighting right out of the gates. Look at how ambitious these lines are, wow.
NEAL is just absolutely on form right now, but he has so many obstacles in the way, and Luning has been doing a phenomenal job holding on to that first place. Hero's applying the pressure, and he does take first place now.
Yeah, Hero still in first place, but all eyes are on NEAL, the winner of the first track, as he's been really good with his nitrous gauge.
Oh my god!
That's
all
gonna take
eyes, but now it's just bad stuff happening for NEAL. Such a huge collision. Now it's all about Hero and SUNGBIN.
I don't even feel like any player particularly messed up there. There was just so much congestion that in solo speed that often happens. And so now it's Hero versus SUNGBIN effectively for 1v1. And at first place as BBoong is slowly starting to gain the distance. Oh man, spin turns coming out from both Hero and SUNGBIN. SUNGBIN navigating it, I want to say, a little bit better as we come down the stretch. 400 meters left to go.
Hero is holding on to this lead right now, but SUNGBIN gets an impeccable draft timing, and he comes in first, takes it away from Hero.
Man, SUNGBIN like a rocket ship off that ram, just had so much speed. Able to pass Hero in the final moments of that track, pick up the win. NEAL, by the way, despite all of those insane collisions, somehow still worked his way back into 5th place.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we were so focused on the podium finishes, we didn't get a chance to see how he did it, but that was really impressive. I thought that NEAL was going to be 7th or 8th almost no matter what after he got the really short end of the stick, but instead racking up a lot more points. He's going to be in 2nd place now. SUNGBIN with a solid finish in first in track number 1 and track number 2, leading the pack now at 14 points.
And you can see there the 4th place and 5th place are both tightly contested. Now, we don't have the redemption match, so you have to finish in the top 4 to earn your spot in the grand finals of solos. So there's a lot of pressure on Hero to catch up right now as he's contesting Cool for that 4th place. But now, SUNGBIN brings us to our track number 3 of solos here in Forest Exact Timberland. And off we go. This is our 3rd round of the round of 16 winners match here in the solos as we see Luning and Cool off to a great start.
Yeah, Luning really needs a start like this one. Needs some podium finishes to start the comeback if he wants to repeat and win here in the regular season. As we take a quick inventory, by the way, HyunSu and BBoong both have 0 points in total at 7th, 8th place. Luning right now leading in first, only has 2 to his name, and the cutoff right now for top 4 is 10. So certainly some moves need to be made by these players in the lower standings. And Luning here on lap number 1, there isn't a lot of traffic, almost in time trial mode, although Cool is gaining ground on him, is putting a pretty good dent into that. I think we can see him pick up a lot of points here on this track.
We can definitely see the players are just separated into their own groups right now. You see Luning and Cool constantly brawling it out with each other, and look at the midfield. It's so congested there. So many collisions coming out, and NEAL is going to get a huge win off that one now, coming in to try to put some pressure on Luning.
Yeah, Cool is able to take a really nice center line on one of those tight turns and pass Luning there for the moment, although with the draft, Luning should eventually be able to edge him out here as we enter lap number 2, but NEAL, behind all of this, has been closing the distance as Luning and Cool continue to battle it out. NEAL going for a slightly wider line there as Luning does retake first place, but coming down the stretch here in lap number 2, I feel like anything can happen.
Yeah, I liked the attempt from NEAL there, but it didn't pay off for him. Now Luning, he's been able to maintain this lead against Cool for the whole duration of the race. Now it's Hero's turn to say, hello Luning, I want that first place, but Luning is not giving up his lead.
Yeah, the MIRAENSEJONG speed ace Hero trying to unseat Luning from this first place position, and it can be pretty hard to pass on some of these turns if the body block comes through, but Luning now almost in a 1v2, 1v3 while he's trying to stop Hero, Cool, and NEAL. It's just too many carts, so he's going to focus on his line, but that will allow Hero and NEAL to pass him for just a moment.
Luning and NEAL trading so much right now, but Luning, he went off his line so far wide that he's going to fall into 4th place now. It's all about NEAL and Knock up in the front, and NEAL, his recoveries have been so good.
Wow, and he just navigated those turns absolutely impeccably. Knock, he does have a nitrous, and he has a draft on this straightaway. Will he be able to pass NEAL? No! NEAL is going to pick up his 2nd track win in 3 maps. 23 points now on the board as he's going to solidify his position in 1st place, and 23 points. Should we go the distance all the way down to 50 points? NEAL's about halfway there to a victory.
Yeah, we were talking about Cool being such a great solo match player, especially this season around, off of that 3-win streak last time in the solos as well. But today, it's all about NEAL stealing that show. He hasn't built up that counter for the 3-win streak, but he's built up so many points that we're halfway there to the 50-point mark now.
Yeah, even setting another record. In addition to having a new record here on Zigzag Timberlands, which, by the way, is the 2nd time NEAL has set a new record in these last 3 tracks, he also had the most collisions. So he was fighting his way all the way up in the 1st place, and he just handled those last couple of turns so well that he was still able to set a record. Not really the kind of situation you find very often. Usually if you set a record like that one, you're basically in time trial mode like he was in track number 1, but NEAL just really flexing on everybody in this lobby right now as his map choice is going to come through here for track number 4. It will be WKC Mexico Touring Rally. Round of 16 winners match continues here in round number 4 as we are racing to 50 points. NEAL currently in the lead with 23, but not the best start here on this track.
Speaking of best starts, BBoong is having a pretty good start for himself, and that's great because BBoong has been pretty silent throughout the solos. He's sitting on 0 points right now, so he desperately needs to lock in his 1st place here.
Yeah, HyunSu's also been really quiet, even on this track right now, sitting in 7th place. He has, I think, 3 in total, which is not really what you want to be. Yep. So we'll see if these players can start to make a little bit of life come here as HyunSu is starting to work his way up these middle ranks. I love how the observer immediately switches to him and oh wow, catches an incredible run. He just threaded the needle.
Yeah, that draft was so good from HyunSu. Now Luning is forced to play catch up. It seems like BBoong, he's actually taken a huge momentum loss for himself now in 8th place. It's all about NEAL and Knock in the top 2 once again. These 2 players, including Luning, have been standing out so much today.
I mean, NEAL is just playing out of his mind right now as he's going to try and double down and get a 2nd win in a row, but it's really congested coming in these turns. You see a lot of collisions continuing there, but NEAL somehow on the straightaway is just able to pull away, and he's actually leading in nitrous above everybody else right now. He's so fast on this nitro gauge buildup. I'm not sure anyone's going to be able to catch up to him. BBoong with a draft, and Luning maybe can do it.
He can do it, but Cool came out from the outer line. Now it's Luning and Cool fighting for that first spot, and Luning is going to lock in his first place finish of the day.
Yeah, much needed there from Luning. Going to move from 7 to 17 points in total. As I really thought NEAL had a chance to pick up his second win in a row, but on that final turn, there were just so many little tiny micro collisions, and NEAL lost so much momentum. It's actually remarkable he was able to come back into the top 3 as the global legend continuing on here. It's still a podium finish. It's almost like he's playing a pension meta, but the pension is getting like top 3 every single race. It's crazy how consistent he's been.
Yeah, but our solos defending champion Luning now puts himself back on the board with that 10 points in the bag. He is tied with Nock for that 3rd place and 4th place. Hero only a point behind.
And a 10-point lead for NEAL, and we're right about out of the halfway mark here for this group. So gotta think that NEAL in a prime position to just catapult himself straight into the grand finals, which has eluded him in preseason 1 and preseason 2. We'll see if he can make something happen again here, as he's been absolutely stellar. Next track coming in, it's gonna be Glacier Extreme Stadium. Let's get to it.
Our round 5 kicks off in Luning's first track selection of the round of 16 winners match, as we see a lot of collisions near that midfield. It's going to allow Hero, Nock, and Cool to try to break apart.
And Luning getting one of the last track actually has him in tied position for 3rd and 4th place at 17. Hero and SUNGBIN right behind them at 16 and 13 points apiece. And keep in mind, top 4, that is the cutoff. The top 4 players, they will go to the grand finals. The bottom 4 will have one last chance at the final match of the round of 16. So a lot on the line for these folks. And Hero right now sitting at 16 points, taking some phenomenal lines.
And you can see NEAL, he's sitting at 5th place. He's the most dangerous player of the group right now for anyone else competing, because he's so close to that 50-point mark. And we can see Hero and Cool, SUNGBIN, Luning, they're just grouped up away from the bottom 4.
Yeah, and should there be some collisions, that might give NEAL an opportunity to start to make a really big play, as Luning, finishing lap number 1, will take the 1st place position at a 1/4 of a second ahead of SUNGBIN and Cool.
Yeah, Luning. That was not a good moment for him there. He's going to lose everything off that, falling to 8th place. Now, it's all about SUNGBIN, Nock, and Cool up here. Yeah,
I'm not sure if that was a collision with SUNGBIN that kind of forced him into the wall, but he clipped it a little bit, and he's all the way down in 8th place now, fighting his way to try to work his way back up. And that means Nock, SUNGBIN, and Cool, as you said, fighting it out, as BBoong also trying to join the fray. BBoong with only 3 points. If he wants to book a ticket to the grand finals, he's got to try and get some pole positions coming in.
Oh, we're seeing some collisions there, and Cool's going to be able to take a nice lead off that. SUNGBIN with a great response, and BBoong with the huge collision on Cool there, but Cool, he remains calm and collected, and somehow Cool is in 1st place again.
Yeah, Cool back into 1st place right now. Will he be able to hang on to it here on this straightaway? I think he will. Nock does have one more nitrous, and BBoong does as well, but it's not going to be enough, as they will round out the top 3. NEAL falling all the way down into 6th place, but overall a pretty good performance. Cool, all the way up to 28, gaining ground, catching up to NEAL.
That was an insane recovery from Cool there. The block, or rather the collision coming out from BBoong, it was just so aggressive that I thought Cool might be done for, but he's known for these plays where he's always calm and collected. He's able to catch up and just read his opponent so well. So Cool taking 10 points off that. Now is going to be at 28 points, only 1 point behind NEAL.
Wow, and we have a, excuse me, choking my water a little bit. We have a 3-way tie right now for 4th place at 16 points apiece. So competition really tough. These players tied for 4th, feeling a lot of pressure. I would not be surprised to see the heart rates really start to escalate here as the next couple of tracks come in. Waiting to see what the choice will be. It is going to be World Tour Terracotta Twister, as the solo winners round of 16 match continues on here at the KDL. And off we go. HyunSu right now, all eyes on him as he's sitting at 8 points. really not the performance a lot of fans were expecting. Certainly not the performance I was expecting out of HyunSu, but I gotta say, the previous track, up until some of the final moments, he was doing really well, and now here on Terracotta Twister, off to a very good start.
But keep in mind that Luning, SUNGBIN, and Hero are all actually tied right now for that 4th place. So that means 4, 5, and 6 positions are all contesting that 4th place with a tied score right now. So the results of this Terracotta Twister can absolutely change the tempo of our solos here, as we see Nock entering the Terracotta Tomb section with a nice lead, I was about to say, but that collision sets him back.
Yeah, that collision not the best, and then actually kind of ricocheting right there off the ledge.
Yeah.
The curb, and that's going to have him fall all the way down to the 8th place. A lot of momentum was lost as SUNGBIN trying to make a play. Cool with some nice body blocking there, able to retain his lead in 1st place as we get ready to start lap number 2. Cool is going to be in the lead, but HyunSu, he's fighting back, man. He's, I think, sees the opportunity with a 3-way tie right now and set at 4th place at 16 points apiece. HyunSu, if he can get a podium finish or even take 1st, he might be able to gain enough ground to put his name in the cards there.
HyunSu definitely getting a lot more spotlight as the match goes on. In fact, he's going to be able to overtake Hero there, now contesting in that top 3. And SUNGBIN is a player that's actually tied for that 4th spot right now, so he desperately needs 10 points here.
Yeah, NEAL entering the tomb section. We'll see how he decides to navigate this one. So a little bit conservative thus far, not really taking too many risks. Of course, collisions very dangerous here as SUNGBIN. Oh, SUNGBIN and Luning both taking a massive hit on that ledge, are going to be locked into 7th and 8th place right now. As Cool starting to run away with this one. HyunSu seems like he's body blocking just to try to hold on to 2nd place. He knows that 1st place is going to be too hard to get, and barely misses out. Hero able to eke out that pass on the outside. Cool picks up another win, now at 38 points.
Cool, he's getting that 2nd win in a row now. He's 1 win away from repeating that 3-win ending victory. Cool has been the only player so far in our Kart Rider Drift season that pulled it off. And if he pulls it off a 2nd time here today, in a group like the round of 16 winners match, that's going to be quite the feat.
And he did it. He did it in one of the most competitive lobbies already, and it was just a couple of days ago. Now, when he did that on Wednesday, it was the first 3 tracks, but he has a chance here to potentially do it on, some of the last 3 tracks, because supposedly, should he close this one out right now with another victory, he's actually going to be at 48. So
yeah,
he's maybe saving us from one more track, but still, it would be really awesome to see Cool pick up another track win and be the only player not just to get 1 3-track wins in a row, but 2. It would be a phenomenal storyline heading into the finals. Let's see if he can do it. 1-track win away as the selection comes through. It's going to be Village, Boom Hill Tunnel. Potentially the last track should Cool win it.
And off we go into round 7 of our round of 16 winners match here in solos. Cool, once again, he's not too far ahead, so I am assuming he's going to build more on the booster gauge for now and look to catch up later.
Yeah, but Cool also did this on Wednesday when it was track number 3. Was he took his time, he played lower in the positions, and he just waited for his opportunity to strike. He waited for a collision at the front of the pack to just kind of weave his way through, thread the needle, and go try cross that finish line in 1st place. We'll see if he goes for the same game plan here.
He's been trying, but there's so many obstacles in his way. BBoong and NEAL completely blocking his lines right now.
Ooh.
So many collisions happening, but it's just helping out Hero, SUNGBIN, and NEAL.
He's a little bit far behind right now. Oh, especially that collision took a lot of momentum away, but he is working his way up. And let's keep in mind that all these little collisions that are inevitably going to happen here on the top, they might give him a chance as he's going for the NEAL build. Very reminiscent of the way that he won 3 in a row previously. Does he go for the spin turn again here? He does! Cool!
Oh, Cool!
Briefly work his way up to 1st place with a collision off of SUNGBIN there. Oh man, he tried to make the magic happen once more.
Whoa.
Will he be able to do it? It's him versus HyunSu. He does have a nitrous.
Oh,
HyunSu! He clips the ledge. 130 meters to go. And Cool for the 2nd time in a row on Wednesday. On Saturday, he wins 3 tracks in a row. Unbelievable.
Man, Cool is just living up to his name. You can see it on his face. He knows he's cool right now. He shows us that 3P here once again. And it felt like the odds were against him when he got collided into. But at the end, he's able to boop off SUNGBIN, boop off HyunSu, and take that 1st place for himself.
Oh man, that was absolutely unbelievable. He went for the same build on Boom Hill Tunnel to close it out previously, where He hangs back, he waits until the NEAL build off that ledge can come through, and then he goes for the spin turn and tries to convert that into a win. But this time, he had a couple of collisions he had to fight through, and despite that, he was still able to work his way up. So cool, NEAL knocking Hero. Top 4 right now in this group. 2 points separating Hero from HyunSu. I mean, that is just unbelievable. Cool. 2 days in a row in the most competitive solo lobbies we have had all season. Round of 16 match number 1, which was star-studded. Round of 16 winners match, which is basically a preview of the finals. Neil's like, why are you guys looking at me, man? Look at Cool.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying right now. Cool just absolutely stole the spotlight. We were focusing all about NEAL in the beginning of the day because he was racking up these high podium finishes, but Cool at the end, just 48 points, 14 points ahead of NEAL in the end. And what a turn of events. HyunSu as well. I feel like he's had a great recovery. He came from all the way in the bottom, all the way to 20 points, but just 2 points behind Hero. He's going to be having to play in the round of 16 final match now.
I just can't believe that Cool has done it in the 2 most competitive lobbies 2 days in a row, as he, NEAL, Nock, and Hero will advance. And for players like HyunSu and Luning and SUNGBIN, who are starting to catch a little bit of life right there at the end, it does hurt because Cool picking up that 3rd win in a row. You don't get one more track. You don't have any more opportunities to try and gain points and gain grounds on Hero. So that's going to be it for this group. Top 4 advancing to the finals. Of course, HyunSu, Luning, SUNGBIN, and BBoong, they are not eliminated. They are going to fall to the round of 16 final match, where they will play the 4 victors from the round of 16 losers match. And of course, the final 4 players from that group will advance to join Cool, NEAL, Nock, and Hero in the finals. But Cool, right now, the best solo match player in the world, undoubtedly.
Certainly.
I mean, I am just so stunned by his performance on Wednesday, winning the first 3 tracks, and then again here today, winning 3 tracks in an even more stacked lobby. It's unbelievable what he was able to do.
Yeah, Cool's angry right now that he didn't win preseason 2 solos. He's like, all right, Luning, I'm going to send you down. You're not getting top 4 because now it's my time to shine.
I mean, that's just incredible. It wasn't as explosive as it was on Wednesday, where he won literally the first 3 tracks of his match. In this case, it was he only saved us from potentially 1 more track. He still finished at 48 points, but still just phenomenal. I love that he did it again on Boom Hill Tunnel, going for the same strat, the same build. Hanging back, does the NEAL build off the ramp, comes through, and then the spin turn. And he did it in a position where there was a lot of clutter. There was a lot of traffic, and as a result, he collided off several players, and he still had the foresight. It was like he was working through the matrix, dodging cars, to still cross the finish line in first place. I mean, that is highlight reel worthy, absolutely.
Yeah, Cool definitely took all the spotlight today, and everyone in Kart Rider Drift community is just going to be talking about Cool right now. His face itself is going to become a meme, like the god of Kart Rider Drift for a while, and if he can keep this performance up, I mean, there's nothing stopping him. Yeah,
I mean, what a stellar day. I think we have today's match results ready in just a moment here as we're getting ready to close out this show. Of course, the wildcard match between MIRAENSEJONG and Desperado. MIRAENSEJONG winning speed 4-0 in that best of 7, really showing a lot of dominance. But really the story for MIRAENSEJONG all season has been their item mode prowess. And so for Desperado, I gotta say, I'm impressed with the play calling from Banana. I think they played really well in item mode. It was a 4-2, but it felt closer than that. I think they showed a lot of skill, especially being the only amateur team to make the playoffs. So MIRAENSEJONG, they will advance into the losers bracket final, or the lower bracket final. And I'm liking their odds, man. They're a really potent team. They're looking very strong. I think them versus Rocks will be a fantastic match. And really just a thrilling set of games that we've had from start to finish today.
Today was absolutely a MIRAENSEJONG day, not only in the team wildcard, also in the solos, actually. It was Nock and Hero making it as the 3rd and 4th place. So both players from MIRAENSEJONG moving on to the grand finals of solos. And then you have the whole squad moving on to that match against Rocks. It just feels like MIRAENSEJONG are finally starting to climb back.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is kind of a benefit of playing in the team match and then also playing in the solo match if you have the endurance, because you know you're feeling fresh, you're feeling in good spirits. As we look at the round of 16 match status, Here in the winners match, of course, Cool, NEAL, Hero, and Knock all going straight to the finals. If I'm not mistaken, NEAL, both in preseason 1 and preseason 2, actually had to go through the round of 16 final match to qualify for the finals. So really happy to see him as the only global player here in the KDL immediately seat himself in. And later on, we're going to have the round of 16 losers match. That is Will, Striker, Ding, Acidfly, Hojun, HyunSu, World, and Jimin. 4 of those players will win and advance to play in the final match alongside HyunSu, BBoong, Luning, and SUNGBIN. So a lot of solo matches still left to be played. The solo matches, I have to say, have been really exciting, especially these past couple of days with Cool twice in a row, winning 3 tracks in a row. The only player to do it this entire season, and he's doing it basically in the playoffs. It's just so cool.
It's going to be especially exciting to watch out for that round of 16 losers match as well, because unlike today in the winners match, the bottom 4 will be eliminated from contention totally. So you have to wonder, I feel like the losers match, they're not actual losers, right? I feel like the way they lost were just so heartbreaking because Cool, they just gave them 3 tracks to perform. So hopefully they're able to find a better result on that day.
Preview of the next match on the 22nd Wednesday, 6 p.m. KST. It will be the upper bracket finals between Kwangdong Freaks and Live Sandbox, 2 of the most storied teams, not just in the KDL, but in kart rider history going head-to-head. As we will also go, as you said, into the round of 16 losers match. 4 of those players will be eliminated. And for me, looking at this right now, I see Hojun, I see the Emperor, I see World. I think they're probably my 2 favorites to advance. But really, anybody can go. I mean, it's a very competitive lobby. I feel like the level in general has been getting higher and higher from preseason 1 to preseason 2, now into the regular season. And it's hard to say who's going to advance, but regardless of which 4 players make it out, I think it's going to be a thrill.
Yeah, that Wednesday is definitely going to be a day to watch out for, especially in the team match. What is so interesting to me that you mentioned briefly into state is that usually a matchup between Kwangdong Freaks and Live Sandbox, we always call these the 2 titans of kart rider because they have such a storied rivalry, and every time they make it to that team match finals. But this time around, with Seongnam Rocks doing so good, with MIRAENSEJONG having such a strong lineup, you have to wonder if this is still the preview of that finals.
Yeah, that's true. It often did feel like the preview of the finals pretty much every single time they would play against each other in the upper bracket finals. But this season, the competition, as I said, it just keeps getting higher and higher. And if MIRAENSEJONG can continue to convert item wins, though the way they have done pretty much all season, keep in mind they had that 17-track win streak in item mode. Absolutely unbelievable. And they were able to beat Desperado, one of the better item teams as well. If they can continue to play like that, they could also go straight into the finals. So really hard to predict postseason in general.
Yeah, and actually to add to your point about MIRAENSEJONG, their 17-win rounds in item consecutively, it was also done against Live Sandbox, Kwangdong Freaks, their opponents. So I feel like definitely MIRAENSEJONG is going to be a scary team to watch out for. And on top of that, we have an upper bracket finals that is so stacked. We get to see the Live Sandbox, Kwangdong Freaks, and it feels like this season around of KDL, Kwangdong Freaks have constantly been in the lead, so we have to wonder now if Live Sandbox can throw a punch back their way.
Yeah, we're getting closer and closer to the end of the postseason, and every match just keeps getting better. Fellas, that's it for us today. We will be back on Wednesday, 6 p.m. KST. We'll see you then.
in my check. If my name in your mouth, better add the respect. Otherwise, pressure gon' be at your neck when I burn you like. This ain't a game, my aim is to throw. I'm much higher than you, like a rocket, a drone. I'm powerful, think of a stone, throw it off of my brain and I'm bad to the bone.